Hey, what's up? You in there? This is Slash. Another year's gone by. It's Halloween time again. They let me out of that spare bedroom in the back where they keep me. Somebody call the police because I don't like it in there. They play Justin Bieber 24 hours a day. Get me out of there. Seriously, I hate it. I need something better. Justin Bieber. My name is John Skippy Limcool. Thank you for watching this video. This is the Halloween treat video. I have a sale going on my site for Halloween right now at pluginguru.com. Go to the Plugin Guru Facebook page to see information. I'm going to show you in a minute Maxwell. Maxwell is a new friend of mine that has been brought into the family, and he's pretty cool. The YouTube video channel, you should check that out if you want to see lots of videos. If you haven't, maybe hopefully you're watching this from there, or I'm trying to get my website to where it has everything all nice and organized, but it's not there yet. Anyway, please buy patches as a sign of appreciation for what you will learn in this video. Thank you. Okay, so there's a whole lot of new wavetable synthesizers, and I'm distorting, I'm noticing. So let me see here what's going on with my audio. Test, 1, 2. Yeah, it's a little hot. So we'll bring this down and turn this up. There's a whole lot of wavetable synthesizers that have been introduced in the last year and a half. Massive from years ago from Native Instruments. And then since then, we now have Codex, Spire, and Serum. 3 different synthesizers that are wavetable based. So to start with, I have a piece of Halloween candy. I like to thank my daughter for bringing me Halloween candy. To start with, I've initialized the patches for each of these plugins. And I'm just going to play them so that you can hear the difference between the 4, because right there you can tell a lot of difference in how they sound. And I won't chew really loud while I play these sounds. So here we go. This is Massive. Codex. Serum. Spire. Playing chords. Now, because this is the Halloween video, I do have some treats for all of you. A friend of mine on Facebook named Multiplier, he went through, this is over a year ago, a couple years ago maybe, he went through and collected all his patches, and he put them into a single download. And they include some patches from all sorts of different places. I have no idea where all these patches come from. If you search for 1400 massive presets in Google, it's Multiplier dash I stuck all 1400 massive presets. It's on Facebook. There's a MediaFire link that will let you download 1400 massive patches. And right there, you will get a whole lot of really, really crappy patches. I'm just telling you, out of 1400, a lot of them aren't all that great. However, inside of that 1400 are some incredible patches, including some that are straight off from Skrillex's albums. So it's really interesting. I don't know who did some of these patches, but let me show you a couple. I'm going to play a couple of sounds from each of these synthesizers to give you just a little taste of what they can do, so you get a little bit more personality. I was thinking of doing a whole shootout, and I don't think I'm going to go that far. I'll give you my conclusion at the end of this. So for Massive, you got to realize Massive has been out for like 7 years. It hasn't received new patches from Native Instruments in a very long time, which is why people still come to me quite often to buy my Massive Power Pack. Which, by the way, if you just upgraded to Native Instruments Complete 10, or in my case, I went to Complete Ultimate 10, which I highly recommend. And I will do a video showing you why I would highly recommend doing such a thing in the near future. You have these 3 really killer synthesizers that are like the flagships of Native Instruments. There's Massive, there's FM8, and there's Absinthe 5. And all those are 3 to 5 years old without new patches. So I have libraries, and they are now available as a bundle on my website. So if you buy these upgrades, or else if you own Native Instruments Complete and you have these 3 synths, just realize that the factory patches, if you go to the browser and you go up here to the top of the list here, it comes with a lot of sounds. The Massive factory patches are terribly, terribly old. They don't say so here in the modified because it went through and modified the database, but okay. Now they do, I believe, include in some of their, like Complete comes with some of the more newer. Stuff like this, right? Now if you go to the Multiplier bank and scroll down here, deep, deep, deep in the list, you come to over 100 patches. These right here by Stepsonics. I don't know who Stepsonics is, but as an example, here is the start of a song by Summit on the Bangarang EP by Skrillex. And if you go right here and you turn off the delay, you have it's the same patch, identical. So those are in here. There's other just crazy, you'll have to turn down the levels. Crazy. And the levels are way into the red. Like half of the dubstep libraries of presets come from revisions of these patches, because these really kind of, I think there's some really cool stuff. So there's a Halloween treat for you. I almost said Christmas treat, but I have other ideas for Christmas. So anyway, that's from Multiplier for Massive. And Massive still holds its ground really, really well. It's a great sounding synthesizer. The new synths, they do things differently. And they don't really unseat Massive, in my opinion. There'll be times when you want to use that. So if we go from there to the next one that was released was Spire. And it has some cool patches. If we go to the menu, I'm going to just load one of the factory banks. It's a great synthesizer, there's no doubt. Great sounds. It's wavetable based right here. You have a whole list of different wavetables to choose from. They get very interesting. And it mixes between a synth waveform, which is here, so you can make crazy number of sounds very easily. Yeah, Serum came next. It's the new kid on the block. I did some factory voicing for it. We have a whole lot of new stuff. This in a couple weeks, a new library is coming out with all these patches that Seth and I have been working on that are just really cool stuff. Here's some of the things that Seth Norman's been making. Just huge. I mean, crazy. This library comes with 2 components when we release it. I'm going to just talk about it for a minute, okay? Hope you don't mind. Not only do you have probably over 150 presets, but we have also a whole bunch of new tables. As you can see, these are modular tables, Braids, Pittsburgh, Macbeth, the Make Noise DPO. That is my buddy right over here. Let's see if I move this over like this. I think you can see that. So this is Maxwell, and Maxwell is my modular synthesizer. Let's see. Seth was over here earlier and we were playing around it. And if you want to watch, check this out. You get the idea. So that's my modular synthesizer. Keeps growing. It actually was smaller, and I added some new things to it. And the case was, I had stuff in the case below and above, and I just got the new case for fitting everything into it. So I use that to make wavetables for this library, as well as massive. I plan to do some with FM8 as well. So if I init the preset, and I come over here to the tables, let's play a massive one. So here I took a growl. Over like 6 seconds, I recorded it on C1. And the trick with these, to make your own tables, record C0. I shouldn't say C1, but C0, the low. That's C. You record that for about 6 seconds for the sweep at 44.1 kilohertz sampling rate, 24-bit. Then you go into a sample editor, make sure that the very start of this sample is on a 0 crossing point, so it's going to do a nice setup. Hit the waveform tool. So go in here and type C0, and that will set it up to automatically loop the right length of time for this, and then you drag and drop the sample into here, and it makes the table. I'm going to do a separate video when the library comes out showing how to make your tables with more details. But by doing that, I go over here to envelope 2. Let's just have it do a slow fade in. Actually, a fast fade in, kind of a slower fade out. The noise is more than noise, and I'm going to really exploit this in the future. I have a library coming out using noise as a complete synthesizer, and it's really, really cool. I'll give you a preview of that here in a minute too. So if we say, go to noise, and let's turn off oscillator A. Now to start with, it's noises, right? Different noises. Different types of drones. Here's your pitch. And again, the sample quality for the sample is awesome. Turn on the keyboard button if you want. Now it's in pitch. You can have it loop or be a one-shot, right? So if you click right here, you might not know this, but there's a whole lot of other folders. There's attacks, there's miscellaneous, there's the kicks. So, and set this to be a one-shot. All sorts of attacks from kicks. Awesome. Really cool for finding just the right thing there for it. Okay. So there's 2 libraries coming out for Serum. There's crazy basses, leads, synth effects, some pads, stuff like that. So I've exploited that a little bit by going in and let's say Airy Pad and turn on keyboard and turn on loop, turn off A and turn this on. That's playing back a sample. And then you could so you can make sounds that sounds nothing like Serum, right? So a whole library of that kind of cool stuff is coming. I'll show you a couple other samples real quick. So let's turn on loop. Some other things that I have created is things like I guess we gotta turn this off. This is just raw. There's no velocity to anything, no filtering, which could be used to some of these samples come from my Absinthe 5 power pack that I created. The reverb is in the sample. And it's a single sample, so it's not the 18 velocity layers, every note, no loops type of. I mean, I'm not going for that. This is a single sample. But the sample engine is so good that it makes for really cool sounds. So there's 2 libraries. There's the patches and the wavetables, and then there's going to be the really cool samples and patches, and it might include the wavetables too, coming out this month. So keep your eyes open for these. They're going to be really fun. Okay, so that's just a taste of what's coming. A link is given to you to download massive patches. A taste of the patch libraries that are coming out from Seth Norman and myself in this coming month of November has been revealed. And a little quick shootout between the 4 wavetables. And of the 4, the most flexible, I think, probably would be Spire. Just as far as to the leads, to the aggressive, to the snappy, to the chords. It's really flexible. Although I will say this, the thing with Spire that I like is that it's this sheen. It's if we go to some of the synth sounds, these are like in the first bank. So let's go menu, load bank, factory bank. Go to some of the synth stuff here. It's very nice up here for chords. One place where Spire kills is in reverb. The reverb in Spire is great. The reverb in Serum leaves a lot to be desired. It's very metallic. Where is it at? There's hardly any motion. Just kind of sits there. So I would recommend, in a lot of cases, you can turn this reverb off and use an outside reverb. A wonderful reverb, by the way, would be those that come from Native Instruments in their power pack. I really am enjoying playing with these. The 48, which is a modeling of the Lexicon 480. Hear that ringing and rolling? Compare that to it's just very static. So of any weak point inside of Serum, it's the reverb. It just does not work to blend for chordal type of sounds and stuff like that, unfortunately. But for the one thing I will say is this: Spire is very polished and kind of like back in the mix, whereas Serum is in the middle of the mix, ripping off your head and ripping your face off. And the fidelity and the harmonics of it are really inspiring and really cool. If you're into that kind of music, it just depends on what you want to do. So there is differences between them. Massive, it still has that classic sound to it. And if you get these patches, then you have even more of the classic sounds to work with. Codex is the most disappointing of all four. It's more simplified. There's no editor. You can import, but it's based on an algorithm that doesn't always work all that reliably. It chops it into preset pieces, and depending on what the pitch of your sample is and so forth, I've had some really weird results. There is a list of wavetables to play with. It's not a lot. 64 is not a lot. The effects section is kind of funny. There's reverb, but it's a single slider for... The sound of it is kind of filtered. It's got this like frequency limiting to the high end. I mean, you compare that to even the factory patches from Spire. That's a bad example. It rips your head off. Well, some of the new stuff. Let's play some of the like Slipknot. This is really cool. I love this one. You hear how it's right there and so present? And here's Wave Codex. So if you want more of an analogy, vintagey kind of sound, maybe, I think this might be more appropriate. Just once you play with it for a while, you really hear this limited frequency. You don't hear that here. Spire is great for... And a lot of that is attributed to the reverb being wonderful to work with. The synthesis engine is good. But it sounds far away. It's not an in-your-face. It's very virusy in a way for that kind of thing. But the virus could also be in your face. Even some of the third-party libraries, like the ones from Shocking. has a very set sound to it. Serum breaks that mold. Anyway, there's demos for Spire and Serum and Massive you can download to work with. I'm not sure if there's a demo for Codex. I think there might be. So you should be able to be downloading these and play with them yourself. Make your own assessment. My take on it is different than your take. Anyway, okay, well that's it for this video. I think I'm going to do the coverage of Native Instruments Complete 10 Ultimate in the next video. I don't know if there's a better value for the money out there. It's not cheap, but for what you attain, if you are a musician and you are trying to work in more than just dance music, and you need a whole library of sounds of different things for different places for writing music, especially if you write for like library music or for games, for films, TV shows, it's something you'll want to look at. So we'll cover that soon. And thank you for watching. Happy Halloween, and see you soon.